So this is a very raw and transparent take on what are the 5 things that have changed my life, and I haven't even thought about these things. So I'll articulate these things as I speak to the camera. So I think the number one thing that has changed my life is surrounding myself with the right people, right? In my teenage, I was surrounded with all sort of people, the sort of people that never really thought about doing well in terms of the careers, the sort of people that were, doing some sort of random jobs, and the sort of people that would smoke cigarettes and all sort of different just and very bad activities. The first time I saw chairs, I thought that was a chocolate, and I was thinking that what are these guys doing with this thing? So ultimately, I surrounded myself with the right people. I had a few people in my life that I think that these guys are ambitious, and I surrounded myself with them and really had really good discussions with them. And then it was not exactly them that changed my life, but the people that I surrounded myself with on YouTube. I'd spend most of my time on YouTube, and I wouldn't listen to songs, I wouldn't really watch a lot of sports, but rather I would try to be educated on the subject of making money, right? I would think of all the ways that could help me make money, and I'd search them on YouTube and try to make myself educated. And that is what majority of my time passed, and that is why learning from the best of the very best has put me in a position where I have built this small business. The second thing that has changed my life is to get the knowledge that I can implement in my life, and not really accumulating all sorts of random information and really trying to learn these mathematical algebra things that are never really going to be implemented in my life, right? So instead of pursuing the degree, instead of really being passionate about the education that I might get in my university and that might never really be implemented in my life, the example that I can give you is all the education that you've got in your lifetime. How much of that do you remember? I don't think you remember 80% of the education that you've got. You just have the slight bits of that information in your mind and the very basics, but rather there are only, I think, 20% of the information that you've got in your lifetime that is implemented in your day-to-day life, and that might help you in your business and in your overall life, right? The example that I can give you is that in your school, in your university, you are rarely taught about your diet, which is a big aspect of your life. You are rarely taught about your faith the way you should be taught, right? You are rarely taught about law, right? You are rarely taught about your health, how to manage that, how to keep the best health, and really telling you that why you should care about your health, right? So you're never really taught about the very basics and very important things of your life in the university, and that is why you should be doing your own research. You should be looking up for these things on your own and really see what is the information that is going to help you in your life, that you can implement in your life, and really look up for that information and be obsessed with learning and then implementing that information. And the third thing is to implement that information. It's not really to keep learning, but rather implementing. And the best way you can implement these things is to really look up to the people that are implementing that information in their life. It could be super challenging for you if you can accumulate all this information and you have no example that makes you believe that implementing this information is going to really help you change your life, change your circumstances, and change a lot of things for you. But if you can look up to someone that is doing those push-ups, that is trying that diet, that is implementing those steps, those systems into their business, that is helping them make money, that is that push-ups that are helping them get those muscles, or that diet that is helping them get a better physique, get glowing skin, get the healthier person of themselves, right? So you have to accumulate the information and then you have to implement it, because if you do not implement it, that information will fade away, because you might not have that information on the top of your head all the time, but if you can implement it, you've built those data sets that are going to help you make decisions in your life. The point that it came into my life was later. That is why I'm mentioning this as fourth. So what you need to do is you need to study your faith. You need to study the reason why you need to develop this relationship with God. And my reason for that is because when I've built this strong relationship with God, when I have this God fear inside myself, I'm the best version of myself, right? I'm the strongest version of myself. When I fear God, I fear no one else, right? And I want to be the best version of myself, and I want to expect the best out of this world. And the way I want to expect the best is to put my best into this world, so that when I put my best into this world, the outcome, at least from my actions, is going to be the best. I think the fifth thing that has changed my life is to cut off all the distractions. And the way I did that was to live alone, right? And that I can remember that when I was living alone, that I was the best version of myself. I still am. I'm just struggling with a bit of distractions at the moment, because when you're not alone, you have to deal with the sort of energies that people share. And when they're not self-disciplined and when they're not as ambitious, then that is a bit of a challenge.